I believe that Nigeria is still standing, but standing still is the correct answer because it seems we really are not moving since 1960, since independence. For me personally, that also grew up in that country, I know the way Nigeria was in the era of 60s and 70s. But ever since then, it seems things are now stagnant and we've not seen any economic development or infrastructural development in the country for the past 30 to 40 years, which is very unfortunate. And we've witnessed this firsthand. And it's a pity because we do pity the new generations that are living in the country because they've never seen anything good in that country. Part of the major problems we have resides on the shoulder of our leaders because we have corrupt leaders, we have leaders that are not patriotic, we have leaders that are self-serving, that are not really looking to the welfare of their own people, and greed is one of the major issues we have, and as a result there cannot be any development when you have greedy people in power. Success is surely assured for them, for the present generation, because for one thing, the leaders that we have are well advanced in age. All the people that are troublemakers in that country, they are getting old, and it is high time for this younger generation to really step up the ladder and express themselves to the community and to the state at large and try to take up the mantle and run with it. And then I'm sure that will be an overwhelming support of the people because everybody is yearning for a change and people are just tired of the status quo in the country. Yes.
Well, thank you very much for talking with us, Mr. Ido of Desmia Systems Incorporated, also here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Well, I would say Nigeria is still standing. Nigeria still has some future. While a lot of negative things have happened, we need to look forward to the positive side of what is yet to happen. The unfortunate thing is that Nigerians did not take advantage of opportunity that has been available to us over these years. The reason why I'm saying that is Nigeria got independent almost around the same time that Brazil in the 60s, South Korea around the same time, and Nigeria. Those are the three countries that people thought are going to be developed beyond any human imagination aside from the Western world. But unfortunately, Nigeria didn't take advantage of it. Only Brazil and South Korea. You know, it is very, very unfortunate. And I think there's still time for Nigeria to turn around. The reason why I'm saying that is, if you see South Korea today, they are manufacturing cars and they're exporting cars to America, to other parts of the world. How did that take place? Their politicians were so corrupt in those days, and every penny that they stole, that was the money they used for establishing industry in their countries. So what I'm saying is, there are a lot of Nigerian leaders that have stolen money. Granted that they have stolen those money, instead of leaving it in Switzerland Bank and all of these places, the idea that I have is they should call all of them together, give them forgiveness, to bring the money back home, to come and use it to establish industries, knowing that they are doing this for the future generation. All of that money, how much money can they spend for the rest of their life? They need to bring that money back home. There's an example for them, like I mentioned, South Korea, so that they will use that money to establish industry, manufacturing, and everything that can sustain itself. We are talking about the power system. You cannot go to Korea and have a power outage, or Brazil. So Nigeria has opportunity now, and the future generation should be able to look forward to that, to impress on those people who have stolen this money, to bring it back, to come and use it to improve the country.
With me today in the studio, I have a panel who will help us examine the subject matter for today. So to my right, I have Emmanuel. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
And I have Tunji next to him.
Thank you for having me.
And Sam, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
So the panel of discussants this evening will help us to examine, is Nigeria still standing or is it standing still? So Nigeria, which way forward? Sam, do you want to shed some light on this?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good question. I think Nigeria is not standing still. I think Nigeria today has come a long way. It is a work in progress, but yet we have a long way to go. And as essentially my perspective is that you can measure Nigeria's progress in terms of its socio-economic development, its political development, and the security in the nation. I think in a lot of those aspects, I would say that we have stagnated a little bit, but we are making some progress. Having said that, I think if you look back, a few decades ago, probably as far as a decade ago, we've had intermittent governments in terms of the military government and the civilian government. We kept having military coups and all that, and I think to a certain extent all that has been eliminated. I certainly hope so. So to that extent, I think we've made some political progress. As far as what is happening today politically, I think we still have a long way to go, though, because I don't think we have what you would call real democracy in Nigeria. The reason I say that is that democracy in itself is defined as the government of the people, by the people and for the people. And you have to question whether or not you actually have the people that are responsible for those that are in government today. I think in that wise we still have a long way to go. Also the political parties, I think earlier before we got on the program, somebody mentioned here that do these political parties really have ideologies? I mean, what do they really stand for? Today I think people are just, setting up political parties, and when they don't like their friends, they move to another political party. So I think, all that has to be defined.
Stick to the political ideologies. I want to ask Emmanuel to help us examine, do they have anything in place with which they can lead the people to the right destination? Or, are we struggling in that aspect?
Yeah, thanks for that question. I think in a way I would see us struggling in terms of in the direction of the political parties, because I don't know whether it was hastily done or the fact that it was a serious thought wasn't given to the concept and organization of the political parties, because what I see is that anything goes in the political parties, and given the fact that the political parties are supposed to be the backbone of the governance, because if any political party is elected into government, they are the one that is supposed to form government and organize government and make and lead the country on a functional and effective governance. Be that as it may, I would say that we need to start. The parties really need to go back and rethink itself and start putting in place principles of what they stand for in terms of ideology, what is their objective in terms of what they want to be able to do for the country. If, for instance, take maybe you have probably like a capitalist tendency in terms of, okay, you want governments to be small and the economy should be run by the people, then you want to be able to have your framework in terms of your ideology to focus on that part. And then what you need to do is to put all the necessary elements in place to ensure that you have a system whereby your functionals, the folks that are in the political parties, have a view of what they want to do when they come into government. Because what I see is the fact that we really have a lot of work to do in ensuring that our political parties are organized in ways that will give them a vision of what they want to do when they get elected into government.
Do you think, in your own opinion, has any politician distinguished themselves in this present dispensation?
That's a tough question because really I don't really live there right now, so it's tough to give credit to any of the politicians. But again, I mean, I want to answer something that Emmanuel said. There's a little, what's missing from most of our political parties is that there's no political tutelage, which used to be the case. I mean, you school under someone for a period and you share the ideology and you can implement. You see that, you saw that with the AG, ETNC in those days, and the MPC and PRP. I mean, they had leadership. But like Sam said, today you quarrel with someone and you just walk away from the party. And that's one of the problems we have. I mean, now, I mean, to your question about is there any governor that is distinguishing himself? Well, there are a couple of governors who they say are doing well, but I mean, they're not going beyond and above performing what government should do. In any case, I mean, I'm not saying that they're doing anything that is extraordinary. They're doing what government is supposed to do, meet the needs of the people who have put you there. So, I mean, when you say excel, I don't think there's anything excellent. But of course, we have to praise those who we hear good things about. I mean, we hear from Lagos State, and we've seen at least the environment, at least things are kind of picking up. I mean, we've seen that it's getting cleaned up a bit, and we've seen some things start to work. And that's the beauty of democracy, at least when you can call on government and they seem to have a listening ear to address some of the situations you're going through. But like I said, our democracy is still young, and like any young democracy, we're going to go through all the problems, transition, lawsuits, until we find a balance.